Did you know that memory loss can begin years before you even notice it? Not with dramatic forgetfulness, but with small things. Names, appointments, that feeling of mental fog that just won't lift. You might chalk it up to aging. But here's the truth. Your brain is constantly changing. And every single day, whether you realize it or not, you're either helping it stay sharp or letting it slowly fall apart. Here's what most people don't know. Brain decline doesn't start with disease. It often starts with daily routines, tiny choices that seem harmless, but slowly wear down your mental clarity. It's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because after 60, your brain's needs change. And unless your habits change too, you could be speeding up aging without realizing it. But there's good news. Science now shows that specific daily habits can protect your memory, focus, and even mood at any age. In this video, you'll discover 7 daily brain-protecting habits, all backed by neuroscience. They're simple, actionable, and some may surprise you. And habit number 6? It's something most doctors never mention, but it's now linked to a 46% lower risk of Alzheimer's in older adults. If that sounds important, give this video a quick like and hit subscribe. We post every week to help people over 60 live longer, stronger, and more mentally alive. Let's get into habit number 1. And it starts the moment you open your eyes in the morning. If you do just one thing in the first 30 minutes after waking up, make it this. Exposing your eyes to natural morning light within the first hour of waking can reset your brain's internal clock, improve focus, and boost memory. Neuroscientist Dr. Andrew Huberman explains that morning sunlight stimulates the suprachiasmatic nucleus in the brain, setting your circadian rhythm and boosting cortisol at the right time, a key factor in attention and energy. A 2021 study from Northwestern University found that older adults who got morning light performed significantly better on memory tests than those who didn't. Many of us stay indoors, sipping coffee under dim lights, not realizing we're robbing our brain of a daily reset button. It's not about doing more. It's about letting your brain sync with life again. At 68, Mr. Bernard in Ohio felt sluggish and cloudy by mid-morning. His daughter suggested a 10-minute walk in the early sun. He said, "It felt silly at first, but after a week, I wasn't just awake, I was mentally alive." 3 months later, he's sharper, more upbeat, and reads again with joy. Try it tomorrow. No sunglasses. Just 10 minutes of natural light before 9 a.m. What's your current morning routine? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear what's helping you start the day with clarity. Skipping morning light is like trying to charge your brain with the cord unplugged. And speaking of recharging, habit number 2 works while you sleep, and it could be the missing link to long-term memory protection. Most people think memory is built during the day, when we're reading, thinking, learning. But in truth, your brain does some of its most important work while you sleep. Not just any sleep, but deep, peaceful sleep in the right position. That's something Mrs. Lang, a 72-year-old retired teacher, learned the hard way. She loved her recliner. It helped her back pain, and she often fell asleep in it while watching the evening news. But slowly she started forgetting small things. Names of neighbors, what she ate the night before, or where she left her keys. At first she laughed it off, but then, one morning, she looked at her granddaughter and blanked on her name for a split second. That shook her. Her doctor didn't find anything serious. But a kind physical therapist asked a simple question. How do you sleep at night? Turned out, the recliner wasn't helping her brain recover. She was missing a basic but powerful ritual. Side sleeping with proper spine alignment. Science has shown that when we lie on our side, especially during deep sleep, our brain is better at flushing out waste. Things like beta amyloid, the protein linked to Alzheimer's. It's like the brain has a tiny cleaning crew that only shows up when the lights are off, and when your body is in the right position. With a few adjustments, a supportive pillow, a softer mattress, and gentle stretches before bed, Mrs. Lang began sleeping on her side again. Within a few weeks, her dreams returned. Her words came back smoother, and she started doing crosswords again, something she had quietly stopped. There's something deeply comforting about knowing that while we rest, our body, if we let it, can heal, restore, and protect. So tonight, when you settle into bed, don't just think about how many hours you'll get. Think about how you'll lie down. A small shift could be giving your brain the care it's been asking for. If you've ever changed your sleep habits, or felt a difference based on how you sleep, I'd love to hear your story in the comments. And next, we'll talk about something completely different. It has nothing to do with how you sleep, and everything to do with how you listen. I was visiting an old friend, Dr. Eleanor, 78 years old, a retired neurologist who still kept her curiosity sharp as ever. We were sitting in her garden when I asked her, "Eleanor, you've worked with the brain your whole life. If you could give just one daily tip to protect memory, what would it be?" She smiled, then said something I didn't expect. "I listen, properly, for 3 minutes, every day." I blinked. "You mean meditation?" She shook her head. "No, I mean this." She closed her eyes and tilted her head slightly. Then she added, "I try to give someone, or even a bird, or the wind, 3 full minutes of my attention. No phone, no reaction, just listening." She explained that active listening isn't just about being polite. It's brain training. When we listen deeply, without preparing to speak, judge, or scroll, we stimulate networks in the brain responsible for language, empathy, attention, and memory. It's like a multi-part workout in one silent act. And she was right. Neuroscience backs it up. Studies from Harvard and Stanford show that deep listening strengthens the prefrontal cortex, which plays a central role in decision-making and memory formation, especially as we age. What amazed me most wasn't the science. It was her presence. When she listened, you felt it. And I think that presence is exactly what protected her sharpness all these years. You don't need a lecture or a podcast. You need 3 quiet minutes. With your spouse, your grandchild, the birds outside. Let them land in your mind without interruption. I tried it myself. That evening, I just sat with my father, 84 years old, and listened. He told me about a girl he once loved in college, a story he'd never shared. And you know what? I remember that story word for word, even now. So here's a gentle invitation. Try this today. 3 minutes. 1 person. No fixing. No interrupting. Just listen. And if something surprising comes up, tell me in the comments. Those little stories? They're part of what keeps the brain alive. Coming up next, a habit that feels almost too simple, yet may be the brain's most underestimated protector. It's something you do with your hands. There's an old wooden box in my mother's house. It's worn at the edges, hinges slightly rusted, and inside are bundles of embroidery thread, reds, greens, golds. For years, I thought of it as nothing more than a keepsake. Until one afternoon I caught her sitting at the kitchen table, threading a needle with shaking fingers, and smiling. She said, "When my hands are working, my mind is quiet, but not empty. It's remembering." What she said stayed with me, and as I dug deeper, I found that her instinct was right. Using our hands, especially in fine motor tasks like knitting, carving, drawing, or even gardening, stimulates regions of the brain responsible for coordination, memory recall, and emotional regulation. A study published in Frontiers in Psychology found that older adults who engage in regular hand-based crafts show slower cognitive decline and higher levels of dopamine, the feel-good chemical. But this goes beyond science. There's something ancient, almost sacred about creating with your hands. It brings rhythm, focus, a soft resistance against forgetting who we are. Take Mr. Yoshi, 83, from San Francisco. A retired mechanic, he began repairing old watches after retirement. Tiny gears, delicate screws, long hours. He said, "It's not about fixing time. It's about not losing mine." And maybe that's it. Every thread your fingers touch, every seed you plant, every brushstroke, every chop of vegetables. It's not just action. It's memory and motion. So if you're feeling scattered, or that your mind is fading faster than you'd like, don't just think. Touch, shape, repair, fold. Let your hands lead your brain back to itself. And if you already have a ritual like this, sewing, painting, kneading dough, share it in the comments. You never know who you might inspire. Next, we'll step into something most people overlook. A brain-saving habit that happens before you eat, and it takes less than 1 minute. Imagine this. You're at the table. Lunch is ready. Warm soup, fresh salad, maybe a slice of bread still soft in the middle. You sit down, say a quick thank you in your mind. Or maybe not. And then, you begin. A few bites in, you realize you barely tasted it. That was me for years, always rushing. Even when I was calm on the outside, my mind was scanning the day. What's next? Who I forgot to call? Whether I added milk to the grocery list? It wasn't until I visited a small care home in Kyoto that I noticed something different. The residents, many over 80, had a ritual. Before every meal, they placed their hands together, closed their eyes, and said, "Itadakimasu," a simple phrase. It means, "I humbly receive." Then they would sit for 5 silent seconds, breathing, smelling, tuning their mind into the act of eating. It might seem small, but neuroscience says otherwise. Recent studies in neurogastronomy show that mindful eating, especially when initiated with a short pause, activates the insula and anterior cingulate cortex, areas tied to memory formation, taste integration, and emotional regulation. In simpler terms, if your brain is present when you eat, it remembers better. Not just the meal, but how you feel, who you're with, and the moment itself. That's how memory gets built, not just by what we do, but by how aware we are when we do it. I tried the 5-second pause for 1 week. No phone, no news, just food and breath. And I was surprised. My digestion improved. I stopped overeating. But more than that, I began remembering my meals again, in full color, like old photographs being restored. So here's something to try. Before your next bite, put your fork down. Close your eyes. 5 seconds. Receive. If you already do this, or you felt a difference when you eat slowly, share it in the comments. And if you've never tried it, maybe tonight is the perfect night to begin. Next, we'll talk about movement. Not exercise in the way you think. This habit is so simple that people ignore it completely. But it could be the key to protecting the aging brain from the inside out. There's an old man I often see at the park. Every morning, rain or shine, he walks the same path. Not fast, not with weights, just steady. His hands are folded behind his back, his gaze is low, and his breath, barely visible in the morning chill, moves in rhythm with his steps. One day, I finally asked him, "Why do you always walk like that?" He replied without stopping, "Because it keeps my memories from drifting away." At first, I thought it was just a poetic way of speaking, but I've come to realize he might have been more right than he knew, because the habit he practiced is not just walking, it's conscious walking, or what some neuroscientists now call cognitive gait training. When we walk slowly, intentionally, and without distractions, especially outdoors, we activate more than just our legs. We engage the hippocampus and prefrontal cortex, areas of the brain responsible for spatial memory, decision-making, and orientation in time and space. This type of walking has been shown to slow down memory loss in adults over 65, particularly when combined with breathing and awareness. It's not about how far you walk, or how fast. It's about being there, in your body, in the moment. Take Mrs. Clara, 79. Her daughter began walking her gently after dinner, just 10 minutes around the block. No phones, no music, just feet on pavement, breath, arm in arm. And over weeks, something changed. She became clearer, calmer. Not always, but enough for her daughter to say, "I got parts of my mom back." Sometimes the brain doesn't need fixing. It needs reorienting. And the body can help lead the way. So here's something to try. Tonight, before bed, take a slow 5-minute walk. No podcast, no rushing. Let your mind catch up to your feet. And if you've ever felt your thoughts settle during a quiet walk, leave a comment. Someone else may need your encouragement more than you know. Next up, our final habit. It's about something that happens when the lights go out. And it might just be the most powerful brain defense of all. The house is quiet. The lights are off. You've done your nightly routine, brushed your teeth, turned off the TV, maybe checked the door twice like I do. And then, you lie down. But your mind is still busy. You think about the doctor's appointment, the look your daughter gave you earlier, the name you couldn't recall this morning. It's strange, isn't it? Our body rests, but our brain keeps circling. Now here's something most people don't know. Your brain does its most important cleaning while you sleep. Literally. During deep, slow-wave sleep, a special fluid called cerebrospinal fluid washes through your brain, removing waste and toxic proteins, including beta amyloid, the one linked to Alzheimer's. Think of it like a gentle tide, rinsing the spaces between your thoughts. No pill can do that, no exercise, only real, restorative sleep. But here's the twist. To enter this healing state, your brain needs safety. Not just physical, but emotional. That's why one of the most overlooked habits for brain health is this: creating a sense of peace before bed. Not just silence, but emotional closure. You can do this with something simple. Writing down one thing you're grateful for. Saying out loud, "Today is done. I did my best." Or calling someone to say, "I love you. Sleep well." Small gestures, but powerful signals. They tell your brain, you are safe, you are loved, you can rest now. Mr. Howard, 91, does this every night. He sits by his window, writes one sentence in a journal, and says a prayer for someone he misses. He told me, "I sleep better when I end the day with kindness." And the science? It agrees. Studies show that people who practice gratitude or gentle reflection before sleep experience better sleep quality, fewer nighttime awakenings, and improved memory recall the next day. So tonight, before bed, give yourself the gift of a closing ritual. It doesn't have to be perfect, just honest, just human. If you already have a bedtime practice that brings you peace, I'd love to hear it. Share in the comments. Your habit could be what someone else needs to sleep through the night. And remember who they are in the morning. Next, in our final part, we'll bring everything together. Not just as tips, but as a new way to see your aging brain. Not as something to fear, but something worth trusting again. So now, you've heard all 7 habits. Some of them might have surprised you. Others may have reminded you of things you once did, but stopped. And maybe deep down, there's a quiet thought forming. Could this really help me? Let's go back for a moment. Habit 1 reminded us that the brain craves rhythm, not noise. Habit 2 taught us to feed not just the body, but the neurons. Habit 3 asked us to connect more, because isolation is more dangerous than it looks. Habit 4 showed us the hidden power of daily learning, even when the body slows. Habit 5 opened our senses before every bite, and memory followed. Habit 6 brought us back to the earth, one step at a time. And Habit 7 invited us to end each day with peace, so the brain can repair what life has worn down. These aren't magic tricks. They're not prescriptions. They are quiet invitations to come home to yourself. You don't need to do all 7 tomorrow, maybe just one. The one that made your heart pause a little longer. Because the truth is, your aging brain isn't giving up on you. It's waiting for you to treat it like a friend again. Not with fear, not with force, but with attention, with kindness, with trust. So here's your gentle challenge. Tonight, choose one habit. Try it for just 3 days. Notice how your mind responds, not instantly, but patiently. And then come back to this video. Tell us what changed. Even the smallest shift matters. Leave a comment. Your story might help someone else feel less alone. Click like if you want more videos like this, and don't forget to subscribe. Because this isn't just a channel about the aging brain. It's a place where aging is honored, and growing older feels like growing deeper. And if you want to keep this feeling going, watch the next video. 5 daily emotions that strengthen your heart. After 70, backed by science. It's not what you think, but it might be exactly what you need. I'll see you there. And until then, be gentle with your thoughts. They're listening.